Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over in the YouTube account, and you can see right here in the chapter, we are on 78-28. Now, there are a few players that have pushed progression. I'm sure Lith is there as well. Thank you guys for joining me for live stream. And it looks like Orlando is there as well. Again, thank you guys for joining me. It's very interesting because we know, and a lot of questions have come up about Dracula that is going to be coming up. Patch notes should be tomorrow on the global servers. We should also see the hero that is going to be added on Tuesday. Overall, it seems like the hero is going to be used in a couple formations. And as we're seeing it right now within the test server, she is actually being used again in a couple different places. And she has been run in conjunction with the team that we're seeing right now with, of course, the Draconic hero that we're trying to build, which is Odysseus. So Odysseus and her have been run in a combination right now. Again, don't know how meta it's going to be. Don't know if there's going to be some changes to that. But right now, that is what we're seeing on the test server, is we are seeing a little bit of utility when it comes to the hero. Then, of course, we are well overdue when it comes to an awakened hero, which means we could see a Celestial or a Hippo awakened hero that is going to be coming to AFK Arena very shortly. So make sure you're saving your resources, your time emblems, everything of that nature for the future heroes that are coming. And of course, that is also going to be right around the time of the 7th anniversary of AFK Arena, which kicks off in April. Don't know if there's going to be a swap scroll. Don't know if it's going to include the Awaken, if it's going to include Draconic heroes. There are so many questions right now about what is going on with it. What are we going to see? But only time will tell that. So it looks like the Dream is here. Mesri is here as well. Howdy Hippo. What's up, Dennis? Shout out from South Africa. Thank you, Brendan. I've been to South Africa. We talked about this before. It is very, very cool. I'm on 78-41. No one has gotten any higher. This is really power capped. And it's interesting because I believe the patch notes are adding chapter 82, which no one can reach. So as they kind of slowly kind of filter this, I guess, it to us, again, a lot of players cannot reach the chapter. They can't make any more progression in there when it comes to actually pushing the envelope or pushing utility. A lot of players are not able to make any more progression within the chapter or the campaign itself because of kind of the hard stop, the power cap. That is where we've been, and you can see right up here, even a lot of players are just kind of power capped, and a lot of players are power capped right at this stage. Again, I don't understand the logic behind it, and maybe Lith has some insight to where they're releasing a lot of new stages, a lot of new chapters that no one can access. I really don't understand the logic or really the reason behind it, but I think it is kind of silly. Good afternoon, everyone. Is anyone else trying to register for the meetup in New York? I already did. I did the registration for the meetup in New York. I might be attending. I hope I'm going to be there. Fingers crossed, guys. If everything kind of lines up with the schedule, with the kids, with work, with everything else, I am hoping to be in attendance for the meetup in New York, and I'd be able to actually see you guys in person instead of being behind the camera every single day. It'd be really cool to see. So got a 4 Life Leech collection for Dracula today. Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see exactly how that looks, Dream, because there are a couple different things that seem to either amplify the damage that Dracula is going to be doing, or the Life Leech being a lot more of the support in there. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm in stock on 78-31. That's the majority of players. When you start getting into 78, again, most players are just locked behind that power cap that we normally see. And again, with knowing there are so many additional chapters, so many additional stages, I just, again, don't understand the logic on why we would not allow players to just push a little further or move through some of the content. I understand that the power cap, but again, knowing that if this was the last chapter, or if, 79, 80, whatever was the last chapter, it would make sense to maybe make it more difficult in the last chapter. But if they're pushing chapter 82, we're stuck in 78. Again, that's something that I want to ask the devs. There are a lot of questions I submitted. I know it said I could submit one, but I didn't because of everything. Do you really need a Life Leech collection now? Yes. So it's going to be weird because that, again, Lith is odd. A lot of her skills and abilities are based on Life Leech. And I really feel like looking at Dracula, it's going to make a difference in there. Yeah, if you're going to need Life Leech again for that kind of support mage aspect that we see within heroes, or if you're going to need something else to boost up her damage, it's going to be interesting to see, yeah, if it is some of the odd ones. And we know, even looking at what we've seen as of lately, a majority of the heroes have been built around collections, where instead of you have a really good collection, you can use that collection for everybody. A lot of these have been built around the collections where when you look at, Pippa, when you look at Begrus, when you look at Valfura, when you look at a lot of heroes, they require very specific collections to trigger their abilities or get the stats that are required to actually build it a little bit further. Again, it's interesting kind of how they've sort of built that in. To me, it's really interesting to see how they've done that almost systematically to be able to use those heroes to their full capacity with having it built in. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start this here. We're going to hop out. I'm going to let the campaign run as we go through a couple other ones. I have multiple crit damage amplification collections. You have to, especially when you're unlocking them. There is a point where, when you're running 5 teams, so 25 heroes, 6 teams, 7 teams, 30, 35 heroes, you need a lot of, not only a lot of collections, you need a lot of collections that are built out with really the accurate stats that you need in there. But there are also a lot of collections that do require, again, very specific builds in there based on the collections, based on exactly what you need to have those heroes perform incredibly well. And you need a multitude of those unlocked to be able to use them, again, in the couple different game modes where they're being used. The depth of the game is getting a lot stronger, getting a lot more prevalent. If you want to be competitive within AFK Arena, it has really changed. Yeah, some of the weird collections, and I don't like, and I'm hoping that there might be some adjustments when it comes to something like the Ghoulish Gallery. Again, giving us the ability to get staffs a little bit easier. But when you look at like a Pippa, that requires insight. There's no way to specifically have a tome or a legendary bizarre totem that you can go in there and you can build out specific insight or try to get insight in there to actually build it out. It is just, again, adding more randomness, adding more RNG when it comes to building these out. It's a very weird collection. And the same with the Life Leech collection. I feel like that's another one, if it is absolutely required, is going to be incredibly hard to go ahead and, again, build that one out specifically. Now, within here, you can see we have 12 to try to get Odysseus. We're going to do some summons in here. Want to pop up at some of my stones. And there we go. I think we got a copy of him. Just a single, but that is okay, guys. Anytime that we see a draconic hero that pops up, there it is, one copy closer to having it built. Maybe we can pull one more out of here with the summons that we're doing right now. 1 and 2, unfortunately nothing else in there. Now the Wormcrest Spire, we are waiting, and as you can see, we have 130 of our draconic scrolls. We are waiting to see what is going to be the next hero, because unfortunately in here, we still have Tavriel, which we have not built. Begrus is not at 5 stars as it sits right now. I am saving all of these again in the entirety, waiting to see what we do get out of there. Did you know that we get a Highborn swap event? Right now, Major, we do not know. I've asked the question. I have not gotten a response from Lilith. I have not seen anything from AFK Arena. If there is going to be a Highborn swap, it's going to be interesting to see. Odysseus feels like a scam. What I feel, Finn, is I feel like they are going to be putting him, or he is going to be used in some specific formations. It's very early. And again, that's why I've said we've actually gotten to the point where we have seen Odysseus and he's being used in a formation, I believe 2 formations right now within the test server. And I don't know if there's some kind of alteration or some kind of change or something with him that they're going to make him effective. They're going to make him used out of the gate. Absolutely no place for him. We haven't seen any place. And I feel like, again, we're getting him now. Yeah, Abyssal Expedition, just because of his power that we've seen. But right now, Odysseus is being run again on the test servers with Dracula. Don't know if that's going to hold over to the global formations once we do see him. But again, that's pretty interesting that they are either building a boss around, Odysseus' skills and abilities, very similar to what they did with Dracula. And that, of course, gives the heroes utility because they are specifically built around those specific formations and how that does work. Now, in here, we have 52,000 Poke Coins. I'm not going to use the Poke Coins right now because looking at what we have in our wish list, quite a few of heroes in here. I'm still building out Pippa a little bit more. We can see we have Tavriel and Odysseus in here. But overall, not a huge rush. Even looking right here with Harvey, not seeing Harvey used in a ton of different places. I know eventually we're going to build him out. We're going to get him to where he needs to be, but I'm saving the rest of these, and I'm saving them specifically because we know Dracula is going to be up on Tuesday. I can pop her in here for another hero that we do already have built, and then go ahead and change out the formations in here based on exactly what we need. Glad to catch a stream. Odysseus will be likely meta everywhere soon because next Nightmare Corridor is tailored to him. And that's what we were just talking about, Lucian, is it seems like they're working him into formations. They didn't work him into formations kind of right out of the gate. And it's going to be interesting to see. It's confirmed. We at America saw the leak. So we're not allowed to talk about leaks. And of course, guys, you have to think bigger picture. As a content creator, there can at times be information that might be shared with me that's not shared with me. A lot of times they don't tell us anything at all. But anything that is leaked, we're not going to talk about until it is confirmed. I don't like going in here and really talking about anything major or sharing something that might not ever come to fruition. And we've seen it before. So again, even some of the things that we've talked about in the past that we've seen some things about, looking at the King's Tower, they have talked about a dimensional tower. This has been a multitude of years that they have talked about a dimensional tower. Players are still kind of waiting for a dimensional tower. And even when it comes to heroes specific, this is another place that they have talked about the tier 5 gear that could be coming. Talked about some adjustments that could be coming that are over on companions with how actually your additional heroes turn into shards, things of that nature. There's a lot of things that are kind of on, I guess, kind of like the goal map or the overall direction of AFK Arena that the developers are talking about. But of course, I want to share it and I want to see when it is actually, when it's real, when it is actually real, when we actually see the release, what it's going to include. Now, of course, we can go back and we can talk about what we've seen before. So what we've seen before, or traditionally what we've seen, let me hop down here and just grab one of these formations. Corwin, 4 trillion power. Some of these players, guys, are just absolutely crushing it in here. Let me grab someone on the friends list. Let me grab some of the guildies in here. But what we've seen before is traditionally within the anniversary, is going through the anniversary, they will not have us or give access to swaps that contain any hero released in 2026. Dracula will be released on Tuesday. Tuesday will be up. Now remember, Tuesday will be the release of Dracula. The exchange is not for another, and I believe it is 24 days before you can actually redeem with the chest. If you're purchasing Dracula on Tuesday, you will have full access to the hero. Everything there is good. You can go ahead and you can have access to the hero. If you are not purchasing Dracula, you are going to have to wait the 24 days for the chest, the 28 days for the redemption. So it's going to be a little bit of time, usually around that 50-day mark before you can actually have access to the new dimensional in the entirety. If you do not, Dragon Tower will happen before the dimensional. So the big thing with that, Lith, is again, we were kind of talking about and discussing about the future of AFK Arena is the Dragon Forge trials are very similar to what we see with the tower. If they went through and released additional floors in here, more rewards, it would be really beneficial for a lot of players being able to build Draconic heroes. If this had a progression, I mean, it's been what, a year, probably going on a year and a half since we've seen Draconic heroes. This has added 2 floors in a year and a half. This is something that is kind of crazy. Yeah, $15 purchase, no brainer if you spend it all. That is why it said, guys, when you look at the resource generation of the chest that you're getting out of the release of Dracula, absolutely $15. Buy it to keep all of your resource chests in the entirety. It is very, very well worth the purchase in the entirety to be able to have Dracula and be able to use Dracula if Dracula does go into those meta formations. Aurelia is almost a mythic. Aurelia still super, super strong, guys. That is one. But yeah, like I said, Dracula will be here on Tuesday. Dragons are the most pay-to-win aspect of the game. Absolutely, Lith. I cannot agree with you more on that. They are very, very, very pay-to-win. And of course, if you don't have the money or if you're not buying them, then you pretty much don't have the Draconic heroes. For me, I do not have Skylin. I do not have Kalon. I do not have Halia. There are a lot of Draconic heroes, again, with that big, big pay-to-win factor that I do not have access to, and I will not have access to just for the simple fact that I am not buying them at all. I didn't know that someone else watches some FHG. I get a ton of people. I mean, you figure with everyone out there, I mean, we get thousands, some of them, tens of thousands of views on the videos, which is awesome for the love and support for the channel. But it is very cool to see. Let's pop in here. Let's do a couple summons. And again, we have 762 cards. And here we're sitting at 518. So once we do the new release, if there is another release that is going to be an Awakened Hero, we have more than enough to go ahead and do the summons. And all of these scrolls we're just kind of saving up in the entirety, waiting to see or hoping Celestial, Hypo in here, possibly get an Awakened Hero. But I don't know. And let me know in the comments, guys. Oh, thank you, Lith. Yeah, Skylin I merc, and then I do merc Kalon as well, just in case I need him for a formation. I know Kalon I haven't used actually in quite a while now. I haven't used Kalon at all within a couple formations. I feel like they're slowly phasing him out. And the same with Halia, not seeing a lot of utility with Halia in there as well. But overall, I do just kind of merc him to set him on the sideline just in case. A dragon is expensive, but they're the new Mauler are weak. Yeah, the monopolize. Who? He monopolized YouTube. Oh, I monopolized YouTube. Yeah, it's definitely a monopoly here. HB feels so weak compared to the Awaken. The Highborn feels so weak compared to the Awaken. It depends which ones. Some of them are, yeah, Halia and Kalon are niche enough to not need them. Yeah, that's my thought. And that's the reason, again, why I didn't build them. Remember, they released them very, very quickly when it comes to, Skylin, Skylin's utility is crazy. But looking at Kalon, looking at Halia, again, those are ones that I'm not going to use, that I'm not going to focus on building. I'm just going to let them pass. We'll get copies kind of here and there. Now, of course, looking at Odysseus, which, guys, honestly, the armor, the look of this, I love how he looks with that big mace, the shield, everything else. I definitely want to build him out. Again, we're going to focus. We're going to build him out in the entirety. What is the feelings about Dracula? Right now, it seems like Dracula is going to have some pretty solid utility. Again, Dracula is another one that she doesn't seem to be, stuck into a very, very specific kind of pivotal role. It seems like she's going to have some utility to actually flex to a couple different places. I'm going to have to find where exactly Dracula is being used within formations. But like I said earlier, it seems like there are going to be some places where Dracula is going to be 100% absolutely required within the formations. And there are going to be some places where we're not really going to see a lot of utility out of her. We're going to have to see. And of course, guys, right now, remember, it's very, very early. Guys, Dracula isn't up on global. And honestly, when we start looking at the test server and looking at Dracula on the test server, it's pretty limited usage. Where, 3-5 years ago, test server used to have hundreds of thousands of people on there, would all test out the hero. We'd have a very, very good idea where these heroes are going to be used, what capacity, what formations. Right now, the test server doesn't have as many players. I don't see as many over there. That way you don't get, again, hundreds of thousands of players that are actually testing out the heroes. So once it comes over to global, we get an idea of where they're being used pretty quick. And of course, the Chinese servers that do have access to it a little bit earlier, we do see it. Based on Harvey's killed, next Hawaiian might be Mahira. Yeah, that might be interesting. Because remember, when it comes to Harvey, Harvey does have an ability where if he's with Mahira, I believe maybe it's this one, the beloved of Mahira, a lot of players, just like we've seen right there from Finn, is the next one might be the awakened version of Mahira, which again, if you use her in campaign formations like I do, if we see the awakened version and Harvey can link, or the beloved will be Mahira, based on this, it would be pretty interesting to see if Mahira is the next awakened hero. Now, again, there's a lot of speculation about going in with Orthos and Zolrath within there. A lot of players have also said looking at possibly the awakened version, and I know it's probably a dream, the awakened version of Lucretia or possibly of Zafriel. There'd be very, very cool to see how they could kind of build this out and build the dynamic of all the players that love some of these older school heroes that we really had in there. AFK, Hypo, or Celestial are fine. Yeah, they'll usually come out, again, pretty interesting right there. Dracula going to need the 2 to 3 Life Leech collection. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Right now, Lilith, again, it depends on where the hero is going to be used. I'd say a 5 Life Leech is going to be the best. Yeah, that's going to be very, very expensive if you're putting the 5 Life Leech on there. Within there, what's going on? Astrudo, thank you for joining us for the stream. Very cool to see. What's a good hypo to build? I have Nox, Envy, and Saramira. So even in here, when you look at the builds, I mean, Lava Tune still does pretty well if you're looking at another hypo. Second row, again, you have Saramira already built out. Harvey, we got to wait. Again, utility not super high in there. The rest of them, not really anyone. Even looking at like a Lucilla, very, very minimal use. Maybe Treasure Scramble if you don't have a lot of other heroes. But out of here, Lava Tune still, again, just because if you do not have a lot of heroes within AFK Arena, Lava Tune will fit the bill for a good support hero overall. Yeah, I would probably say Life Leech with as much possible as full attack. Yeah, Life Leech is going to be hard. And I know a couple players last time were kind of commenting about the Insight collection for Pippa and how hard it was to actually get Pippa's collection in there. And again, I know when it goes in there, really the only way to get it or the easiest way to get it is the recasting elixir to build whatever you want. So she wouldn't need any Life Leech because of mostly magical pierce would be sufficient. Get enough Life Leech to build her from engraving and furniture dupes. Yeah, again, it's too early. Really don't know exactly where she's going to be used. Hope the heroes Dracula kill would come back as a vampire minions. Oh, that would be awesome. Drinking the sites, that would be really cool. If someone, they would come back as vampires or come back as minions in there, that would be pretty cool. Beegers feels so trashy with 2 tenacity. I hope the Life Leech doesn't make the impact. Yeah, and again, that's going to be yet to be seen. Still need to build on my Insight collection with one of the most recasts for Pippa. Yeah, like I said with Pippa, that's another one that is very, very expensive to get because there is no way to naturally get Insight on a collection. Again, that's what makes it so difficult. Now, formations, I know we're already on 78-40. Players are still pushing through. Going through here and looking at, and look at this, guys. 4, 6, 7, 8 trillion power. That's crazy, guys. 8 trillion power. That's pretty much insatiable. I mean, that is a ton. I don't even think I'm at 2. Where is Guy at right here? 1127. I mean, we're quite a bit. So we got to be over 2 trillion on the 5 combat. Yeah, we got to be north of that. Let's go ahead and let this run though. Insight collection is good. You can use it on Zora. Zora converts Insight into magical peers. Yeah, there's a couple places. Life Leech, you can't use that on anyone else. So, and you know, if you're unfamiliar, guys, when it comes to Life Leech, it was one of the crappy stats. I mean, even looking over here at the library, looking at like the Elder Tree, when you looked at when we got Maulers, and most of them at this point were Warriors, the Life Leech stat has kind of solidified the Maulers as there was never anyone to heal short of Namisu in here. So they gave the Maulers Life Leech. And again, this is going back 7 years. When they gave the Maulers Life Leech, it was just super, super disappointing because Life Leech, I believe it is still the exact same way, where if an opponent is shielded, Life Leech doesn't do anything. So the effectiveness of giving Maulers Life Leech to try to heal themselves because they were never given a support hero, super failed, and that's why Life Leech has been just kind of the joke of AFK Arena forever. Cancel the merchant feature on autoplay. What do you mean? Not sure what you mean. The merchant feature on autoplay. I'm an FC. I'm not sure what you mean. What's going on, Frelzeki? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I mean, we ran through quite a few stages in here. I want to hit up the tower as well because I know the tower did expand a few, and there's Thorn Cheese, guys. Still to this day, Thorn Cheese being used in a crazy amount of places. It's cool to see, but very interesting to see that, you know, so many players, even at a very high level, still use the Thorn Cheese on a regular basis. There is some more draconic stuff. There is some more engraving mats right there. But I also want to run through, I want to farm up a couple more in here because I know Infernal Fortress, a few other places. SI Thorn, yeah, absolutely, Finn. The SI30 on Thorin is so worth it. It's funny that the cheese still works. And I was pretty upset, and I know a lot of you guys were as well, that they went through and they actually nerfed the Thorin cheese within the Abyssal Expedition. The hot fix in there, a lot of players right out of the gate, the second highest damage dealing to the boss was the Thorin cheese. And of course, Lilith came right out of the gate, nerfed the Thorn Cheese within the Abyssal Expedition. So again, pretty sad to see that it came. Just call me Les. I'm in a big struggle in AFK Arena. I don't know what to do. What's going on? Drop some questions in there. We have a ton of people in here. Brendan knows a lot. Lith knows a lot. Finn knows a lot. Yeah, there are a ton of players in here, not only myself, that can answer a lot of questions when it comes to AFK Arena. If you want to pop them in there. Again, the discussion of Dracula, we just have to wait and see. Gonna have to wait and see exactly what that looks like, if the life leech is going to be absolutely required in there. Only time will tell once we do get her up on global, being able to build it out, is if life leech and how big of an impact is a life leech collection really going to go on there. It's going to be interesting. I hate the thorn cheese. Yeah, I don't like the thorn cheese, but the thorn cheese is a requirement or an absolute requirement for a majority of players. Just for the fact when you get to a multitude of teams, it's interesting to see. It is very. Pushing towers again today for those cards back. Lilith screwed me over with the new Hippo. Yeah, I'm farming the exact same. I've been farming them, trying to get some more time emblems, trying to get some more Stargazer scrolls, really going out of there. Now, these are red chests. Going to abandon that. Very easy to go through the Dismal Maze. And, of course, a place where you got to get the resources, guys. We talk about resource stacking in so many places in the AFK Arena, making sure that you're going through, that you're opening up your chest, that you're utilizing these resources in the entirety. If you're sitting on all of your resources in the entirety, you're not going to be getting the gold. You're not going to be gaining the levels. You're not going to be making the progression that you need to be doing within AFK Arena. That is something really big to note is, again, if you're sitting on a ton of resources, you're not going to have the heroes that you need to progress, or you're not going to be getting as many rewards as you should be from a bunch of different game modes. It is definitely kind of counterintuitive in there. Bit of a struggle as well, especially since the release of 3 new Garrison heroes. Hard to keep up with all the new heroes. Yeah, the Garrison chain was very, very tough. So with the 3 new heroes released in here, honestly, utility-wise, and honestly, Shell Tier would probably be the one. Thinking of all 3 of these, Shell Tier would probably be the one that I would go ahead and skip. A lot of places, even in the Treasure Scramble, Shell Tier has already been replaced. Thinking of the Cursed Realm, the Nightmare Corridor, not really being used in there. We see a lot of utility out of Laios and out of the Mage. And overall, Laios is being used in a lot of other places where Marseille is not present. They are being run together in a few formations. So honestly, utility-wise, it seems like Laios, again, being used in a couple formations is going to work really well. If you don't have Marseille, you're going to have different formations in there because the combination of Marseille and Laios being run together is a best in slot team. And again, I would kind of maybe get Shell Tier someday, but she would not be one that I would absolutely prioritize at all. I would probably looking at getting either Marseille or getting Laios out of there to go ahead and build those out. Yeah, to build them out, it is going to be cost. Guys, when you start looking at some of these heroes and even like where I built them up to, I know this is a pay to win account. I know we do put money in there, but looking at, and again, plus 30 signature items, really all that you need. But when you're trying to min-max in AFK Arena, makes a big difference the higher you build them. Any of your damage dealers like Marseille, any of them like Envy, any of the big damage dealers, the more stats that you're stacking behind them, the better they're going to perform. And that is just the design. That is just the build of the game. Even thinking of like Althara and a lot of other heroes, the more stats you put on them, the better you build them, the higher you build them, the better they're going to perform when it comes to damage, which is interesting. Still using Vampire Girl at 100 Treasure Scramble. Yeah, still using, yeah, it can still work. And again, it depends. I'm on Classic currently 32-16. Don't really want to restart my account, but I made some mistakes like doing random pulls in Dragon Paragon for gems. It's kind of underpowered for a campaign. Honestly, it just takes time. So come up with a plan. And the big thing is if you go in there and you come up with a plan on how you want to progress. Again, for me, I focus on 3 different heroes, really looking in here. Regular 4 faction heroes, there's only very few that are kind of primary. Celestial or Hypos, Draconic, and then of course Dimensionals. So you want to focus on pretty much one Highborn Draconic hero, which of course are going to be the utilization of your insignias in there. Then you want to focus on the regular Draconic heroes, which is going to be, again, depending on the resources you get and how you build them. Celestials, Hypos, kind of the same. You want either one Celestial or one Hypo. Don't try to build, and this is where a lot of people really get lost. Les is really trying to build a bunch of heroes at the same time. I am feeling the pain right now within the free-to-play account is trying to build up a lot of heroes at the same time. What I do, you know, you have 3 or 4 heroes you're building kind of at the same time. Focus on one. Pick one. My plan is to build every hero that pops up following my plan. Yeah, Dream, it's easy when you have everyone built. If you're a newer player, if you're a free-to-play player, really is a game changer, focusing on what hero is going to give you the most utility, what hero is going to be the best benefit when you're going through in there, and of course, making sure that you're building those heroes and then focusing on building those specific heroes up to the recommended level. So if they require, let's say for instance, you know, a Nox that we need a 30960, making sure you're building the hero to that minimum investment or the required investment before you move on to the next one. And it's just kind of systematic at that point to go ahead and build them and push through a lot of those. Tell me about it. I'm trying to save the white chest to go above 40, stay competitive. Yeah, Lith, I will never be there. You know, I don't take, and I have never taken a hero past the plus 40 signature item, again, just because of the sheer cost is incredible in there. And look at that, Les. We got a new supporter to the channel. Thank you for the membership. It's awesome to see the hippos right next to your guys' name, guys. All the love and support for the channel. Like I said, if you got any questions, definitely drop them in there. I'm trying to get Althara. It's hard to get insignias. I did get a copy of Envy, my first Celestial Legendary Liberta, missing one copy, and that's it. So you really have the Les, it is really down. So I'm doing the same. So thinking back, free-to-play account, I'm building Althara out of here, and I'm building Scion. Those are the two focuses when it comes to building out the heroes right now. Within here, Envy is going to be your first one that you want to build out. Again, still utility super, super high. Out of here, Liberta's changed a little bit. But again, as a newer player, I would still probably highly recommend Liberta. I know we've seen the fall of Liberta. I know a lot of players have said the utility. And the big thing with Liberta is not doing as much damage as he once did, but still has a very, very high utility. When you have super limited heroes that you're choosing from, it does make a big difference. Aurelia's in there, you know, Demia's in there, Nox is in there. A lot of heroes will still do very well, but overall, like I said, when it comes to a hero like Liberta, still has a lot of utility, starting to be replaced in a couple places, but even campaign formations, a few different places, Liberta will still be very, very effective, having a limited amount of heroes within there. And I think we might have capped out the tower here. I thought maybe 1200 was, no, maybe it's above 1200. Look at this. This is what we're looking for, guys. We got Stargazer Scrolls. We got assets in there. Maybe, is that the last? Oh, we got to finish this one. We're on 1200 right here. We'll go ahead. We'll hop in. We'll finish this one out. I'll just grab the first formation because I know I have them built. Auto battle. And look, there's the awakened version of Aziz still being used in a formation, which is kind of crazy. But you said you got to build them all. Yeah, you got to build them all eventually. It's like Pokemon. Is Harvey worth building? Was thinking 20930, get a low resources. Honestly, right now, Sim, we don't see him in a lot of places. Harvey is one, again, that I don't know what is going to be the recommended build. I don't know where he's going to be used. It still seems like it's pretty early. Do I keep Liberta in the Stargazer? I would. On my free-to-play account, I went through and I did build out Liberta in the Stargazer first. Then we looked at Aurelia. You could look at possibly Nox first, but I would build them out. Again, utility-wise, early game, Liberta is going to do incredibly well in campaign formations, going through some of the content. Even as you get further in AFK Arena, it's going to be the exact same. You're going to have a lot of utility around the hero because you don't have all of those options in the entirety, which again is going to work very, very well early game. And honestly, Liberta puts out a significant amount of damage. When, again, you look at the utility of the hero itself, does work very well. Liberta is mostly used in Nightmare Corridor, Thor and Cheese nowadays. Yeah, Shooty, and I agree with you. Yep, definitely used in the Nightmare Corridor, Thor and Cheese. But again, if you don't have the heroes, it's a whole different story. If you're looking at bigger picture, like an account like mine where we have everyone built, Um, Very easy. I can pick and choose exactly who I want to use in formations, who I want to use at different points in AFK Arena. If you're a newer player to AFK Arena, if you don't have a lot of them built, again, Liberta is still going to have a lot of utility in there. But like we were saying with Harvey, I would wait to see where and if Harvey is going to be used, where the utility for the hero is going to come in before you dedicate a ton of resources. If you already have them built, like you said, the 20930, that's kind of a very, very basic baseline where you're definitely going to build them to. But even looking here, I don't think it Woody here. Julius is number 4. Right here, guys, look, there is Odysseus. We had talked about this a little bit earlier. You know, a lot of players were saying Odysseus not being used a lot of different places. We're starting to see Odysseus being used over on the test server. We are starting to see and continue to see Odysseus still being used. In here, we have Scion, but I'm looking for Harvey specifically. And again, it could be too early. We might not see him in a lot of different formations before we actually get to the point. And even here's Tokyo. Let's see that formation number 6, because one of the very few players that do not have this last one unlocked, there's Marcio. So now if you did not pick up Marcio before, you have access to Marcio, you have access to Laios. Both of those heroes now you have access to. Again, if they were heroes that you did not pick before or didn't get when they were free, now you have access to both of those in the entirety, really making a big, big difference in how you can kind of push progression in there. I have Almas at 5 stars. Oh yeah, Almas, absolutely. I'm waiting for the Awakened tree. It would be awesome to see the Awakened version of Almas if they made him like Groot, if they made him and really just decked him out and made him crazy, crazy strong. And if you're unfamiliar, guys, here is Almas. He is unfortunately didn't have much utility in the AFK Arena ever, short of the rooting or the cheese within the tower itself. But I do like Almas. It's pretty cool. The beard is still used in Nightmare Corridor every week. Yep, and that's it. Just like what Liz said, not only used in Nightmare Corridor every week is if you're to the point where it's one team, if it's 3 teams, you're still going to have a lot of utility in there. I see. What about gems then? Where should I be spending them? Is there any way to consistently get Stargazer tickets? The 2 big things, Les, is the towers. Literally, this is going to be your life. If you want to progress in AFK Arena, if you want to get, you know, Stargazer tickets, if you want to get your Temple of Time scrolls, this is it. This is literally the place where you're going to get them. It'll get to a point where when we look at like 15, 12 right here, and I believe it's every 10 floors, you are going to get additional resources out of here. These do give you a red chest, but then when you look at like 1505 right here, this is going to give you Stargazer scrolls. So out of all of these faction towers, they are going to give you resources. And then out of here, you are going to get your time emblems by farming the tower. Everything you need from the tower, it's going to give you red chest. It's going to give you your engraving mats. It's going to give you your time emblems. It's going to give you your Stargazer scrolls. It's going to give you everything you need. And honestly, Les, farm up the towers. It is the biggest point of really income when it comes to summoning income that is out there. What would be more beneficial, to go back and build a 3rd Awaken in each faction for 3 teams, or to push some existing 4 faction heroes to 30960? Actually, Brendan, I would just wait. So when you think about that right now, so right now we have 4 iterations of Awakened heroes. We have 4 seasons. Every single faction has received their 4 heroes. And here we have Thane, we have Belinda, we have Lucius, and we have Estrilda. I would wait for the 3rd team in there for this year, Brendan. I wouldn't go back and build any of the older heroes. I would build the heroes as a release this year to make your tower progression a lot easier. I wouldn't really overinvest into the regular 4 faction heroes. We know 2026 is going to bring us another 6 Awakened heroes in its entirety. And again, there's going to be a point where we're going to start getting new Celestials and Hippos that are going to be the Awakened heroes that are going to be coming when you get those. And again, it's going to come with time. When you get them currently in 2026, they are going to fill out your 3rd team. I would absolutely hold tight right now. Wait for the release. Make sure you have the resources and go in there and build them. They could make Almas as baby Almas. Yeah, that would be a big change if they really did change it out. Liberta is used in Nightmare Corridor with Orthos. Yeah, like I said, guys, out of there, Liberta is going to be used a lot. if you don't have Orthos, if you don't have other heroes. And that's the big thing is when you think of a newer player shooty, like we are kind of talking and thinking of, you know, building out Liberta, looking at a couple of these heroes, it's a game changer when you don't have anyone else. And I see it every day when I play my free to play account, knowing that I have Liberta, knowing that I have Aurelia, I have Nox, I have a couple of heroes that I've kind of built over the last couple months. I use Liberta for a lot of the utility in there does work incredibly well because I don't have a ton of other heroes. It is really, really good. Let's not give Lilith ideas. Oh, yeah, we'll do the Awakened Ones Dream, and then we'll do the baby ones. We'll do baby heroes. So we'll have another faction of baby heroes, and it's going to be looking back at all of these when they were, let's say, 5 to 7 years old as the baby heroes within AFK Arena. I'm interested to see what they're going to come up with the beasts. And again, one of the questions we had around the beast grounds was, since we have the Awakened Beast, we have the Nightfall Pegasus in here, we do have, of course, Count Snickerfang. Are they going to, or do they plan to ever release regular beasts again? That is another question that I posed to the devs that we've talked about. Are we going to see regular beasts that are not Awakened beasts into AFK Arena? Which again, that is something that I have not, and I did not get a response as of right now. If we're going to see that change, if we're going to see the ability to, you know, only got Awakened beasts that are going to be moving forward, or are we going to see something else like regular beasts, like what Dream said? Yeah, I don't know. There's so many questions. And again, coming around the 7th anniversary, knowing that the game has been out for that long, what are the plans moving forward? What are the devs going to say? You know, what is that conversation going to look like in its entirety with what's kind of coming down the pipeline with 2026? You know, what is it going to look like? Is there going to be new ways to build heroes? Are there going to be another faction introduced? Are we going to have more access to the Ghoulish Gallery? You know, there's a lot of things in there that we're kind of looking at in trying to wrap our heads around, or trying to really understand what exactly we're going to be seeing coming into this year. And again, kind of just the overall direction of AFK Arena. We are almost 1,200 levels, which is insane. I remember when we were pushing to 240 and trying to get over that hump. Now we're 1,200 levels into AFK Arena, which again is pretty crazy to see. Another big thing, I really want to unlock gear resonance, but I have no idea how to get mythic gear fast. Not talking about the guild store because I'm prioritizing insignias. Honestly, the mythic gear is going to come in time. That and mythic gear does come out of AFK rewards. As you do get more mythic gear out of here, if you're not getting it from the shop, it is going to come from those AFK rewards, but it also comes from chests. That is really the big thing. So looking down here, getting this specific gear, I have 57 tier 1 chests. I have 6 tier 2 chests. And then, of course, when it comes to actually the stones, I mean, I have 94 tier 4 stones. And you can see tier 2, tier 3, all of these chests in the entirety. So this is going to be a big, big resource of where you're going to get all of your gear, and then using it, it's going to drop random like what Liz said, but these are going to be the chests that if you're trying to get the gear resonance, you want to use these in conjunction with the stones to build it up specifically. Now I've gotten the tier 1, the tier 2 gear already on my free to play account, working towards the tier 3 gear, which does come in just really in time. But these are going to be the big part where you're getting the faction gear chests, as well as just the gear itself out of the AFK rewards. It's going to get it. So they actually unlock through the Field of Stars. Don't know exactly what star, but those chests come from the Field of Stars, and I think it might be this one. Let's see. Nope, gold drop, essence drop. There is hero drop. One of these do release, and it makes those chests. I don't know again exactly where it is. Right here. Tier 2 stones have a chance to be converted into stone chest rewards when acquired. The stones will actually go in, and I believe a bunch of these gives Elite Plus gear with faction bonuses. This might be the one. There's our dimensional gear. So this is going to have the stones are converted into stone choice chests. But I don't think that's the gear one. One of these are gear. I don't know, but it unlocks in here tier 3 stones. So we got the tier 2, tier 3, shard drops, dimensional keys, which we need more dimensional keys, honestly. That I believe is the summons. I don't know. It comes in here. One of these is the conversion of what we do get. There's our diamonds. That is weekly chests. Yeah, they come in there. You get chests in Cheta gear when you build the right. Yeah, Field of Stars. That's where it comes from, Lith. King's Tower floor 1678. You definitely have, Darren, a lot more progression to make. We're on 2606. I think now, Lith, what does it go to? I think it goes to like 3100, 3200. It's in Lyra. Oh, it's in Lyra. That's the star that unlocks those. And that is how you get those chests in there, which again, a Rabbit Beast is nothing if it's not level 27. I don't have anything to make it 27. I'm not even remotely close there. It's in Lyra. Let me check out Lyra. Oh, that's right. The detail button shows it all. I remember old school when we didn't have the detail button. So let me look at Lyra. There's Lyra. And then details, I believe, no, it's the one on the bottom. This will give us all the rundown. So AFK rewards may produce tier 1 variety chests. That is the one. Reach floor 250 of the King's Tower. That is what gives you those chests where you can pick the gear specifically that you want. Tier 1 variety chest, tier 1 variety chest. And then going through all of the stars, there's your tier 2 variety chest. So building them out in the entirety. So it is the star Lyra that you can actually use that for, Les. That'll hit. Yeah, the detail button. I remember when they didn't have that. Oh, I have this max. Yep, then it's just time. That's the other thing. When it comes to the gear, when it comes to things like that, it is time before it is done. No idea how high the main tower goes. I stopped because I was tired of getting so many blue stones. So the blue stones, I just literally use them all, Lith. Yesterday, I went through and I have had maxed out blue stones forever. So what I did was I went in here and I actually used all of my blue stones. But what I did was I went here and I just said, screw it. I wanted the essence. So I hit up the rickety cart and then I went to retire heroes and I just retired everybody. I went through and I just clicked. I retired everybody. As you can see, short of my draconic heroes, we retired everyone just to get rid of them, to get a little bit more essence out of there. And there we go. Like I said, Stargazer scrolls we're getting out of there. We're getting the time emblems out of the campaign rewards. We got some red chests in there. So being able to finish out or get these time emblems, that's why we said, Les, this is the place to get them. Farm the towers and farm the towers all of the time is going to allow you to make a lot more progression and make a lot of more progression faster to getting your Celestials, your Hippos, and your Awakened Heroes in the entirety. It's pretty big. My bag is so full, I saved too many extra copies in case they ever become useful. Yeah, I did that for a while. Then I took my regular legendary heroes and just used all of my food, all of my regular 5-star heroes in there. And then again, I just got tired and I recycled everybody just because I got bored with it. I really did get bored of it. Yeah, hoarder. There you go. We'll call it a hoarder if you're keeping everything in there. So here again, we kind of go through. We pick a formation in here. This is the easiest way to do it. The recommended formations will give you formations based on heroes you have. Let's auto battle, and I'm just going to let this run. This is really good because I usually hop in here. I will reset or I'll set these auto battles when I do my editing, when I do all of my research, when I do my finance channel. I go through and I let a lot of stuff just run in AFK Arena, either on my phone or on my tablet or on my computer, and literally just let it run in the entirety. Last question once again, what about gem spending? What gems content should I prioritize regular 4 pulls? So the thing with this, the big thing to start, Les, is pulling until you have, and again, the general rule in here is using the Noble Tavern until you get to the point of having 3 ascended faction heroes of each faction. Now, the logic or the reason behind that is if you get to the point of having at least 3 ascended heroes of your Lightbearers, your Maulers, your Wilders, and your Graveborns, is you're going to be able to farm the faction towers with those specific heroes that you built out in there, because of course you're not going to have the Awakened heroes yet, but being able to get to the point, and I believe it's level 125 of the faction towers, where you start getting Stargazer scrolls and you start getting time emblems on a regular basis. So making sure you build the regular 4 faction heroes first to make progression in the tower. The progression in the tower is going to feed you Stargazer scrolls and time emblems in there. It's going to be kind of a big circle. Once you get a couple of those, and once you're farming on a regular basis, you'll start getting access to some of the Awakened heroes, and there will be a point where diamonds are used for draconic heroes versus the regular heroes once you have a couple of the core 4 factions kind of built out in the entirety. Look at my cards in game. It says Dark Lord of the Horde. Very nice. The Dark Lord of the Horde. Not the Horde, the Horde. So we're playing, and if you guys are playing right now, World of Warcraft, it's been kind of crazy. Some of my friends tried to get me back into World of Warcraft, which I reluctantly had to say no with the midnight release. Just for the simple fact, it's time. It is kind of time. It is definitely getting to the point. Yeah. So if you have three heroes in the Graveborns, you're missing everybody else. You're definitely missing everyone else. You have my coffee sitting here this morning. So yeah, it's interesting. So again, I'm going to let these towers just farm. That is historically what I do while I'm doing other things. AFK Arena is as much about going through and farming yourself as it is the AFK aspect is literally, like I said, just letting those run in the entirety. We actually got a couple more stones out of here. I want to pop those open. Almost gaining another level and farming through. Again, a lot of this content is going to yield you your essence. It's going to give you your diamonds. It's going to give you everything that you need to make progression in there. I miss WoW, can't go back. That's my problem with. So when I played World of Warcraft, guys, we were ranked very high, which that's all kind of garbage. We were ranked like 26, 28 at the peak of World of Warcraft. We used to raid 4 times a week. It's insane when it comes to World of Warcraft. Yeah, but we used to run through a crazy amount of content. And I mean, we're back to, and if you remember old school, original, I mean, World of Warcraft, we were even at the very beginning where we were farming Naxxramas when it was the tier 3 gear within Naxxramas. And I know there was like 2 or 3% of guilds that actually made it that far. I'm going through there in vanilla WoW, the very, very basic. It was awesome, guys. WoW was a big part. I played it for 10 years. I mean, I played here. I've been playing AFK Arena for 7 years. It was a lot. We rated like crazy. This game still exists. Oh yeah, absolutely. I have a question about classic AFK Arena. I started a week ago following the guides for beginners. I got Ivan and Randy to 1-star, and now I'm stuck with 2 teams fighting to build the other. So, Red, a lot of players at that point will actually choose Rem out of the garrison. That is kind of the one. And again, when you start getting to 2 teams, Randy will be able to be 1 team, and then the other team will usually be Ivan and Rem together. That's very, very traditional when it comes to early game. It does work very well. That will be your second team. Even again, early game or classic game, you're going to have some fillers in there. You're going to have heroes like Aethys. That does work incredibly well. You're going to have like a Garok in there. They're going to do incredibly well. You might get lucky with an Awakened hero to get an SP effect out of there. But there are a few heroes that are going to work very well early game to kind of run side by side when it comes to that. I've left this game 6 months ago. Oh yeah, game's still running strong, guys. Still a ton of people that are still playing AFK Arena. And again, we still see a lot of new players. Anytime we have a collaboration, anytime there's big promotions, they come back. Is it worth coming back? There's a lot more to it. Players, Vmos, that come back to AFK Arena find there are a lot of changes. There's new factions depending how long it's been gone with the Draconic heroes. Why don't you turn on 6FX? So it usually bugs out. So a lot of times, and most of you know, guys, I play on a PC. I play BlueStacks. I can turn this on the Beta Accelerator 6X. For whatever reason, when I'm running this consistently at the 6X, the emulator BlueStacks will sometimes bug out at 6X. That's the reason I run it on 2. If I go in here and run it in 6, a lot of times it doesn't work on BlueStacks. I think it might just overcomplicate it or running or when I'm going through here. Sometimes it'll, I don't know if it overclocks the computer or BlueStacks it's too much. But I found there was a lot more crashes when I was going in here and running it on BlueStacks at 6X versus running it at 2X. 2X is a nice smooth speed, and watch, I'll turn on 6 and it will probably crash, or it's going to run absolutely great because we're streaming. But again, a lot of times this just bugs out BlueStacks for whatever reason. And it doesn't, you can see just, you're like cranking up the game speed to a whole another world with how fast it's going. But a majority of times, like I said, it's either going to not display anything or it will crash BlueStacks in the entirety, which again is kind of crazy. 45K gems in normal polls. Wish me luck. Oh, good luck, Les. That's awesome. Yeah, but like I said, guys, a lot of times it will just bug out, it will crash out, or it will start just kind of lagging, delaying, where I'll start clicking things and the things won't click, or I'll double click, triple click. It'll take me all different places for whatever reason. Like I said, in here, it seems to bug it out when I do turn on that 6x in there. We played for years, yet you're stuck after a week. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Yeah, it's an AFK game. Bigger picture, guys, AFK Arena is not a game unless you're putting a ton of money. And even then, you're going to hit walls to push through a lot of the content in here. It takes time. If you're not buying everything, and even if you do buy everything in AFK Arena, it is going to take time to get the heroes. It's going to take time to build them, to get the resources. You know, it's not a game that you're just going to literally just blow through the entire thing in a week and get to the point where you're stuck. And if you do push through a lot of it, even if you're making progression, if you're going in there, Awakened Chimera, that is one that you want. Awakened Chimera, very, very good, especially guys, best in slot early game is going to work with that Awakened version of Chimera. That's cool. Congratulations. That is really, really cool to see. In here, yeah, just our stones, just our summons. Again, all of those are just going to be recycled as food as we've seen it. Going through the Abyssal Expedition is almost done at this point. Beta version, of course, a lot of changes going to be coming down the pipeline for that Abyssal Expedition. Yeah, she's very, very good, especially early game. Early game is going to be huge. I remember why I left to pay to win. Honestly, pay to win is optional. There are a lot of players that do very, very well with free to play accounts. Pay to win is honestly, if you want to be very competitive, you can be pay to win. It's not required by any means. There's a lot of players that love AFK Arena that are 100% free to play. And honestly, when I look at other games and when I think of kind of that pay to win feature or buying stuff in games, this is probably one of the more friendly free to play games that I've seen out there. There are some games where things are locked behind paywalls. There's points where you can literally make no progression unless you buy something in the game to speed it up or buy something in the game to unlock certain items. Ido Heroes, we've seen that when I played Ido Heroes. As it sits right now, you can be completely free to play in this game and enjoy it, really. Did we kill the boss? Not yet. We are waiting, Dream. They're waiting to stack. They're waiting to see what it looks like to kill the boss. We haven't, Dream. We've just been kind of hanging out. What's going on, Mustafa? Thanks for joining us for the stream. She's good at 1 star. Yeah, she's really good even early for the simple fact that Chimera will have the ability to keep your heroes alive when they should be dead, which again is big. You'll put Awakened Chimera, and honestly, running her in there with Randy and a couple other ones will do very interesting. You can be competitive while playing as free to play in this game, which is crazy. Yeah, Alom, and that's the big thing where you can be very, very competitive in here. Like I said, you have to set the standards. I mean, when you think of a free to play player, are you going to be in the top 1% of players within AFK Arena if you are free to play? Chances, probability, probably not. If you have players that are putting, you know, 100 or hundreds of dollars into the game, will of course make progression a lot faster. Will have heroes that are a lot more difficult to get for free to play, but there is nothing that is, again, exclusively 100% locked behind a paywall. There isn't anything that exists. That's really the big thing. Am I in classic servers? Yes. I only play on the classic servers. I played on companions when we did the release of it. I do only play on the classic servers right now. I finished all my bountiful trials. I still have to do the Misty Valley, and then we'll be done pretty much getting ready for all of the drops, all of the things that are coming out on Tuesday. And what's going on, Alfredus? Thanks for joining us for the stream. Good to see you, brother. A lot of old names, old faces that we're seeing in here. Lith showing up after quite a while, even seeing Finn in here. Very cool to see. But yeah, I mean, we'll sit here, and I think everyone's about on the stages. Looks like even some players, again, kind of went through. I'm going to have to finish out this formation stage on 78-40. And I feel like if I can keep up with the campaign on a regular basis, it'll be a lot easier than falling 2 or 3 chapters behind, then trying to farm and trying to go through, which I farmed like 2 chapters while I was at work one day. It was kind of silly. But let's go and see some of these higher level formations down here. So we're on level 1139. I don't want to see the thorn cheese. I'm wondering if anyone, let's see, Corwin, you're my boy Corwin. No, oh, thorn cheese again. The thorn cheese is still in there. Is anyone using it? Here's 7 trillion power. Did they overpower the Thorn Cheese? What they did not, Thorn Cheese is still in there. And then number 2, no Thorn Cheese, but they're at 1265. I don't know if I can pull this out. Let's go ahead and use this formation. Just for the fact that there is no Thorn Cheese in here, I'm going to let it battle and see if we can get through 78-40, which is kind of crazy without having to utilize or without having to go in here and actually use the Thorn Cheese. I'm going to let it run. I'm going to let it run. I've been ridiculously busy at work. Yeah, I know the feeling, Lith. It's been crazy. For me, we've been a little short-staffed at work, and honestly, it's been kind of crazy busy at that point. Boss literally changed placement when he revived. That's a bug dream. And again, beta version, we're definitely going to change it. You have to be really tactful. I'm a tiny dolphin, just found my way back to 3rd place in the Arena of Heroes. Yeah, it just takes time. Lots to kept jump on. Nara and Thorin still exist. Yes, Nara and Thorin. Yes, Thorin still exists. Nara still exists. They're 78-40, the Kraken things. Nope, I'm not by far a Kraken by any means. We limit it to $100. If you guys remember, which even on March, we haven't spent anything at all, which is kind of crazy. Hey, Nara has a collection now, so maybe Awaken Nara next. Could be. That would be interesting to see. Again, a lot of players are thinking maybe we'll see, maybe it would be Nara. That would be interesting to see, but I'm thinking, and again, the combination of Harvey, I like the thought of that being actually Mahira in there, but again, it's, oh no, it's not a bug. It's not a bug. The boss moves after each kill. That just creates a pain in the butt. If that's the point, great to see you. It's been 3 years since I saw you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I still play AFK Arena. It's something that we stream on a weekly basis. It's a lot of fun. I still do enjoy the game a lot. Going through here and playing here, it is still a ton of fun in here. Awaken Pharrell, please, Lilith. Oh, that would be cool too. That would be really cool to see as well. For real, we just killed the boss earlier. So yeah, if the boss moves, that might be it. God bless you, man. You too. And again, it's a ton of fun. So I want to talk about for just a minute before we're done with stream, because I know we're a little bit over on time. Tomorrow, I am going to be live streaming Raid Shadow Legends. So I was invited, and I was lucky enough to be invited into the Raid content of creators. So there, I'm actually paired with somebody else as a team, and there's going to be a ton of details coming out tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to do a stream on Raid. And if you've seen the promo video that we did, I believe I did on Friday, it's going to be interesting to see. It is not paired with Vulcan. I asked Vulcan. I talked to Vulcan quite a bit, guys. Unfortunately, I'm not paired with Vulcan. So there are a lot of details, and it is going to be something that is integrated with my viewers, which are integrated with a point system, which again, when we start the live stream tomorrow, I'm going to put up a post a little bit later today. I cannot release the details till noon tomorrow to go in there. And did I just see One Punch Man? Yes, One Punch Man is here. That was the last crossover. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And again, it's something that I'm not going to raid. It's something that we got the ability to go through, you know, and partner with someone, come up with a game plan, and honestly just change it up. I mean, after 7 years of AFK Arena, being able to have a friendly competition, you know, even though it's another game, even though it's another title, but having a friendly competition with some other people that are out there, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be very, very cool to see what they bring, and it's going to last 2 weeks in its entirety. So it's very short lived. It's not like we're dragging this out a couple months, but it's going to be cool. I remember Vulcan. Yeah, I talk to Vulcan all the time. Again, I know he's in a raid. He plays a bunch of different games now. But it is really cool, and it's going to be yeah, it's going to be very competitive because there are 5 different teams, and again, there's going to be a lot of details coming out. I'm giving you kind of a sneak peek about it, but I'm going to do and schedule the live stream for tomorrow. It's not going to have any details because again, we cannot release them until tomorrow, just to make sure it's on the exact same page, that we're all competitive. We are literally all starting on the exact same moment. It's going to be noon tomorrow. Which is going to be very cool to see. I'm going to let this 78-40 go ahead and run. But guys, that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you guys for joining me for the AFK Arena stream. It's very cool to see a lot of names coming back and a lot of people. I know it's crazy busy out there, but definitely want to and going to continue focusing on AFK Arena and AFK content. It's very cool. I can mentally and financially not afford to play another game. Free to play. Go in there free to play, guys. Honestly, stick to it. Free to play. I'm not putting a ton of money in there. I'm not putting probably any money in there. But overall, yes, staying. And again, it's a friendly competition between creators, which is very cool to see. But again, guys, that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you guys for joining me as always. All the love and support. And of course, Les, the brand new member to the channel. Love seeing those hippos there. So I will see you tomorrow for another live stream. So if you want to join, guys, again, we're going to be on at about noon. And I believe that is, combat rating cap to the very end, guys. We finished that stage, which means we are going to be combat rated cap. And this again, 78-41 is where we're sitting. Combat rating is going to be there for a significant amount of time. All right, guys. So again, that's going to do it for the stream. Thank you guys for joining me. And as always, thank you guys for watching.